All right, what is going on, family? Welcome back to another video. Today, we're gonna get into the back cards. We already did a review video on the tail cards. It was dropped the other day. Thank you to those guys that went and viewed the video. I made some analysis on it. I thought, you know what, it ended up being 30 minutes long. Personally, I already said this on my Twitter, I have the attention span of a gnat, which is very minimal. So sitting and listening to somebody talk for 30 minutes, I understand how that is not really the most appealing piece of content. So we're going to change it up just a little bit today, and I'm actually going to just focus on my personal opinion on the best cards for the backs of each body type. So we're going to condense the video down. I might breeze over a few things whilst we're looking at the cards, but I'm not going to be doing an in-depth review on each individual card. Quite frankly, I have things to do today, you have shit to do today, and we have a Web3 space to build, so we ain't got all fucking day to be doing this, alright? I want to start off by saying nothing in this video is to be used or taken on as a financial, influencer. Do not make financial decisions from this video, but do open up that brain of yours and have some theory crafting and, have thoughts, bro. I think it's been incredible the way that Sky Mavis have presented us these leaks. They were really happy with the response that they got from the first release of the tail cards. So they're continuing to release more with the back cards. Now, if I do a quick analysis of things right now, we understand that Origins is coming in March. It is March. It's March the 5th right now as I'm recording this video. And we've been given 2 body parts, right? It makes sense for me that next week we will get another 2 body parts, completing all 4 body parts that we are used to playing in Battles V2. And then we will get a final leak, being the eyes and ears, because we know they are going to be usable cards in the new meta. I think once we have all of those 6 body types released, sorry, not body types, body parts released, we will then get our hands on Origin. I think it's extremely important for players to have knowledge before the game actually is released as such. But like we already know, everything that we do in Origins is going to be a play test beta, and we're not going to be able to retain the resources we acquire. But I'm just excited to get my hands on the game and actually play it. So if that's what you are feeling as well, and you've been loving the Axie Origin leaks, go ahead and like the video and make sure you drop a subscribe as we're releasing more Axie Origins content throughout this exciting time. So we're actually going to start with the Reptile cards. I'm going to choose my one favorite card after we do a quick breeze through them, and I'm going to do the same for each and every body type throughout this video, hopefully condensing this down a lot more from the last one. So as you can see, we have a nice 6 options here. We still have Bonesdale, Tri-Spikes, Green Thorns, Indian Star, Red Ear, and Croc. A lot of changes having happened here. You can see that every single Reptile card pretty much is defensive other than Tri-Spikes. Tri-Spikes the only one doing damage. My favorite card out of all of these 6 is none other than Green Thorns. Now, Green Thorns is my favorite card because I am a toxic poison meta player. I enjoy the poison mechanics, and I'm going to be exploring them fully in Axie Origins. Let's read the effects of this card so we can truly understand how toxic it might be. So it states here, apply 2 poison 6 times to random targets. Heals this Axie for 20 HP. So not only are we getting a nice little regeneration effect here, we're also being able to apply 2 poison to 6 times to random targets. How this will work exactly, I'm not 100% sure. Will we target, one Axie 4 out of the 6 times, and then maybe one of the other Axies gets a 2 on it? Or like, I don't exactly know. This is a lot to do with the effects that we're getting with area of effect cards, AoE cards. It's going to be really interesting to use and how this dynamic will work in Axie Origins. So really excited to get my hands on this and start testing out how toxic we can actually be with the poison meta. Now, although Green Thorns is my favorite card, there are a lot of useful cards in the Reptile set, most of them being defensive, as I said, and there's some interesting abilities going on here. So if you do want to check those out, and let me know what your favorite Reptile card is in the comments below. Now moving on to the birds, the beautiful birds, of course. We know they're very fast. We know they like to attack, and that is being exactly represented in the back cards here. And seeing all 6, apart from Kingfisher, being attack cards, there is no shield being offered here. The birds like to go and hunt. In terms of a favorite card, in all honesty, like the bird cards in the back, they're not amazing. They don't scream anything to me. But if I had to choose one, it would be none other than Balloon. Now, as we previously have known, Balloon has always been a 0-cost card, did very minimal damage, but it did apply fear for the next turn. With Axie's Battle V2, we know that the battle system worked on a singular round where speed decided the turn order. So Balloon was effective a lot of the time, but there were a lot of times where you would target an Axie with Balloon and maybe another Axie on your side of the field or the opponent's side would go first, and that fear would be completely useless. It's interesting to see now in Axie Origins that we're actually going to get a generic attack card really here, with 60 damage being roughly around the average for most cards that we've seen so far. But we're actually applying fear for 4 turns. Now, this is something that's amazing to be able to pick up from these cards being leaked. We've seen a lot of things disabling or having effect for 4 turns. Now this is key to me. I believe each Axie may have the ability to play 4 cards each time each instance that it does something. And applying fear for all 4 of those turns effectively could be shutting down an opponent's entire decision that next round or the next go that the Axie is allowed to attack or play cards, essentially. So with that in mind, I feel like Balloon's effect is going to be really useful when used in the right situations. And not only that, like I said, it's doing 60 damage, which seems to be a decent amount of damage in this game. So to me, that makes it top tier. If I can shut down an opponent's entire options next turn and do 60 damage, I mean, that's OP, in my opinion. That's just, it is what it is. And it means that our beautiful Indes birds and a lot of the other birds that we might have been using, or even mechs with balloons, are still going to be pretty much viable as long as the other cards around it sustain their utility. Again, there are a lot of useful cards in the bird category. You know, we have some huge damage going on. In terms of huge, I just mean all across the range of all 6 cards. All of them seem, you know, to be doing decent amount of damage. We have another AoE card here in Tri-Feather, 25 damage, but you are attacking an area or the entire Axie, a team on the opposing side. Interesting one was Kingfisher. I didn't pick it as my favorite because it's not really my favorite, but it's actually going to serve as a reflective card, which is, I mean, that's a big change from what Kingfisher already was. But we're not here to talk about it for too long. Let's move on to our next body type. Now, the next body type is Beast. Beast, you know, they're always gonna bring the damage. They're always gonna bring the pain. And to be honest, one of the best cards that we have seen so far, in my opinion, is in this category. And it is none other than the beautiful work of art itself, Ronin. Now, just besides the fact that this card is pretty beautiful, the effect seems to be extremely enticing. Ronin before was, it would guarantee a critical hit if comboed with 2 or more cards. That has changed. Right now, we are looking at energy consumption. If we are spending energy, we are dealing 50% more damage. Right, so as it reads, deal 50% more damage per energy spent this turn. Now, a couple speculations on the math behind this card, which I think is interesting. 50%, right? We can see that the base of the attack is at 40, right? So 50% of that is 20. So are we saying that if I used 4 1 energy cost cards this turn, I'm going to be adding 4 times 50% of the base attack value? So that's going to be 4 times 20 onto 40, right? Making this attack do 120 damage. And does that 1 energy of the 4 cards that I played include the energy used in Ronin? These are going to be some key figures to understand, because if so, we actually know that Ronin is going to be one of those top damaging cards in the meta. It's going to be a ferocious, option for people to go for. There's a ton of Ronin Axies out there. And I do think this is going to be a card we are very much going to see in the popular category as we go into Origins. Another speculative thought is that as you add the 50% for spending 1 energy, the next 50% that is applied is actually 50% of the base stat plus 50%. So for guys where that's like boggling your brains right now, here's just a quick tweet conversation that I saw about it that might help this out. Of course, I need to go and get that tweeting conversation. I don't know where it is. Oh, by the way, if you haven't already, go ahead and follow me on Twitter. There's a lot of stuff that I talk about here. It's all relative towards Axie. As you can see, there is nothing but Axie on here. So if you love Axie and you've been following us so far in the YouTube space, make sure to get over to Twitter and give us a follow. So this was the tweet I was talking about. Shout out to Don Juan. He actually said, do you guys think that this is 40 plus 20 plus 20 plus 20, like I said? And this would be in the instance of, I assume, using 4 cards and excluding Ronin as being an energy used in that equation. Or is it going to be 40 plus 20 equals 60, so that the next 50% becomes 60 plus 30, which then equals 90. And then the next 50%, if you spent another energy, would be 90 plus 45, equaling 135 instead of what would be this play in of just 20, 20, 20, you know, like there's a huge difference here, right? This really matters. This kind of takes Ronin from a very nice attacking card to an extremely viable and useful attacking card. And also is there the ability to apply or to combine Ronin with 2 energy cost cards to make this even more effective. Only being able to play a certain amount of cards. I can play a 2 energy card and have, you know, that extra 50% bonus on top playing less cards. So it's going to be really interesting. Some guys answered here and followed up. Shout out to Start Cog for Axie. He said what he thinks is 3 energy spent would be 40 plus 150. Now this is a different math behind it. The 150% of 40 is actually going to be 60, so it would be 40 plus 60. In that instance, it would be very similar to just adding the 20s. He also said, I wonder though if the card in itself will add 1 energy to the counter or not. So those are the big questions. I actually agree with Don Juan here when it's saying it should. The card clearly states deal 50% more damage per energy spent this turn. So I think it really should account for this 1 energy that we spend to use the card anyway, and all the energy that we do use in that turn. So yeah, speculatively speaking, all of this could be wrong, but I personally think we're going to be looking at something like 50% of the base damage applied for each energy. So it will be that 20 plus 20 plus 20 plus 20. If it does become the 50% each time, so 50% for 1 energy is 40 plus 20, and then another energy would equal 50% of 60, being 60 plus 30, and so on and so forth. I honestly think that would be the best outcome and make this card extremely viable, extremely valuable. So make sure you hold on to your Ronins. As much as I will love Ronin, and for me it will be the best beast card in Origins, there's a lot of useful cards in here as well. Timber looks extremely valuable as a shield option. Risky Beast being huge damage as well. And just having some decent damage cards on the back anyway. By the way, I love this hero art as well. He just looks like he's just bet his entire AXS treasury on this next card, and and he's just seen that he's gonna lose them. I don't know, it's just amazing, bro. It's just fucking amazing. But yeah, a lot of good options here in the beast category, but let me know your favorite beast cards below in the comments, and let's move on to the next body type. So in my personal opinion, I think bug cards so far have really, you know, stepped up. Or bug cards already in V2, a lot of them are some of the best cards that we have access to. And I do think that in Axie Origins so far, we're seeing some of the best cards again being in this bug category. There are a lot of changes, and I am going to pick one. And I think you guys already know which one might be my favorite here. But just to give a quick rundown, I truly think bug category is just on top right now. It seems very OP. A lot of the cards are just either have great damage or just amazing effects. But as much as I would love to say that Sandal is my favorite back card in the bug category, it actually is going to be Garish Worm. It's very easy to understand why Garish Worm is my favorite card. It applies 2 poison per attack card played this turn. Now, immediately my brain starts ticking over poison meta. What do we want to do with poison meta? We want to poison the shit out of people. I'm sorry, that's just what we want to do, right? So if we're applying 2 poison per attack card played this turn, I need to find out the best 0 cost attack card to be combined with Garish Worm. Therefore, we spend 2 energy for Garish Worm, but then no energy on another attack card. And hopefully at the time when we're using it, we have 2 of those in hand. So we actually will get a 3 times 2 poison stack in 1 turn, spending 2 energy. That's, for me, is going to be the tech in which I'm going to try to utilize with hands-on with Origins when we get there. But I mean, look at the damage, man. Like, I'm doing 120 base damage and applying poison with the ability to use 0 cost attack cards to stack that poison and do additional damage. It's kind of wild. It's kind of wild. And I can see a lot of people, you know, throwing their computers out of the fucking window because this, accompanied with other Axies, you know, using poison based cards, I honestly think Biden's is a must. Biden's has to be an absolute must because poison just seems so OP right now. I don't even want to bring that into like reality. I don't want people to run Biden's because I don't want you removing the poison stats I'm going to be applying. But I feel as if we might see some balancing changes upon the first few months, maybe. I don't know how long of Origin anyway, because poison just seems fucking great. Maybe too great. But anyway, Garish Worm, my people, still an amazing card in V2. Moving on to Origins, even better. Honestly, even better. Unfortunately, this is a back card, so we couldn't combine the 2 energy usage tech that we were talking about with Ronin, because you wouldn't have... Actually, tell a lie. You could have a poison comp with Axie's focus specifically on poisoning, and then a Ronin Axie in that combination, which utilizes a lot of these heavy energy costing cards as additional damage for each energy or used that turn. So maybe that's a combination that could happen. Maybe it's not. You know, this is all speculation. This is why I love looking at these new cards. But personally, I just think Garish Worm is going to be top tier as we come into Origins. Like I said, Bug has some amazing cards in the category. Sandal, you know, I'd have to give it a shout out. There is another tweet that we're going to take a look at. I mentioned it at the start of the video, but I'm sorry, Kyroh, you're a fucking legend for this one. Hey guys, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to leave this here for like 2 seconds. And then we're done, right? We're good. All right, have a great day. The first of the last 2 body types is going to be Aquatic. The fish boys are here. There are a lot of great cards in this category. So, choosing one was not actually that easy. We see a lot of utility in these first 3 that are just on the screen to do with drawing cards, which is always valuable. And I think in Origins is going to be even more valuable having more cards accessible with 6. It's going to be even more important for you to draw the right cards at the right time. But having said that, there are still some other options. Now, out of a lot of really cool options in the Aquatic class, Perch has to be my favorite. Again, linking to that poison meta, dealing 4 hits is 4 extra ticks for me, and that is extremely valuable. Again, another 2 energy cost card, which can be combined with that Ronin card that we looked at earlier. Yes, it would have to be a different Axie, but I do think all these things, you know, are nice little niches to look at and maybe build some tech around. The fact that Perch still prioritizes and has retargetability is amazing, but this time we're actually prioritizing targets with the lowest HP, and with a poison set in terms of the team. You know, you could have poisoned the back line and maybe front lines have healed, etc, and be able to target the lowest HP Axie on the field. I always think that's really useful. And if it is dealing 4 hits, that means 4 times the base of 30 damage. So you're going to be doing 120 base damage with this card, which I think is just fantastic. It's a whole load of damage. Yes, you're using 2 energy to do so, but there are great utilities that come with that. The addition of the eyes and ears cards as well. I think there is times where you can save Perch for the key moment in the game to use it really effectively. So it has to be my favorite card in the aquatic class. It came close. There were a lot of others. Sponge was one of those that was close as well, but Perch is going to be the standout card for me. Just a quick side note before we do go on to the next body type. Sponge and Anemone were my 2 very close second and third cards. I think healing 20 HP whenever the card is drawn, combined with other aquas being able to draw cards from their back cards, I think will be a nice way for triple aqua squads and, you know, guys who have been very in favor of using mostly aqua Axies. It's a way for them to gain some utility. Drawing the Anemone gets you that 20 HP heal, and then having the access to draw more cards gives you more chance to be healing. I think that's amazing. And Sponge, just great shield, but you get to target an ally next turn, apply 5 damage boost to shielded targets if the shield is broken. So this being an amazing card in the midline or something to play onto your frontline Axie. Its shield gets broken, and then in turn it now has 5 damage boosts. I don't know how damage boosts will work, how that will work in the math, but it looks interesting. It looks like something I would like to explore. I have some spongy boys and they can get active in Origins, but let's see. Anyway, moving on to the next and final body type. It is going to be Plant. Now, Plant, it's a beautiful type. It's a beautiful type. The back cards here today, though, the only attacking one is Turnip. The others are shield bonus cards. And we have some 2 cards here that have nothing really other than their effect. It's very interesting. And there are a lot of, you know, there's a lot of options here in the back cards of the plants. But I must say, my favorite today, I say today because this is all due to change. Having said that, my favorite card in the plant body type is going to be Biden's. An OG card, an amazing card that I have seen utility throughout the entirety of V2. You know, the ability to remove debuffs is always going to be significantly effective in games. And I think with the poison meta already looking so overpowered and a lot of other debuffs introduced into the game, I do think Biden's is going to be one of those instrumental cards that you might need against some other, you know, teams like poison teams and teams that set up to be able to apply these debuffs. Biden's is just going to be so much more useful now because it not only heals the debuff of you, the individual Axie that uses it, you actually get to target the ally this time. So you can, of course, sit in the back with a Biden's and just freely heal across your team. I think that's going to be really effective. But this was very closely first choice to Mint. Now, Mint is arguably as good as Biden's. To be honest, it was really hard for me to choose one of the 2, so I decided to showcase both of them. I think it's going to be extremely effective, not only because it shields the entire team for the value of 20, which is pretty similar to what Red Ear did for adjacent Axies, but it was due to percentage of the shield that the Axie would actually put up. But it actually applies 1 cleanser. Now, I don't yet know what cleanser is, but it sounds again something that can help prevent things like poison, things like debuffs, and fear, etc. So I think this is going to be extremely just have some fucking good utility, mate. If I can shield the entire team and apply a cleanser so that I can't be debuffed the next turn, that sounds like it's going to be really effective, especially for something like a frontline combined with more shield value cards, and the ability to just, you know, protect the initial stage of facing debuffs against certain Axie. It was really close for these guys, but to be honest, if I was to choose one out of the 2, it would still be Biden's, just because I have the confirmed effect of removing debuffs and I can select exactly who to remove the debuffs off. Again, yes, no shield value, but, you know, close second. There are some more interesting cards in the plant category. And if we just breeze over them very quickly, we may as well. Watering can is going to be slightly different now. We're adding 1 pure water, and these descriptions, you know, they open up so many questions. It's like, okay, what does a pure water do? We've seen Timber is going to add like a Timber card or Wood card into your hand. So we're actually going to be, you know, utilizing more cards than just Axie attack cards. So Axie body parts. There's going to be more cards in the game, which just fucking blows my mind, to be honest. There's so much that we don't yet know. Again, another one of the plant cards opens this up and asks more questions. In Shiitake, it summons a mushroom. What does the mushroom do other than get you psychedelically tripping? I don't fucking know yet, mate, but it probably heals you. It probably protects you. It could probably do somersaults. I don't know, but it's a mushroom, and who doesn't want a mushroom? I know loads of people that actually don't like mushrooms, so like that was kind of rhetorical, but this brings us to the end of the video. I think, you know, this was a much better way to explore the cards. You know, reading through each and every one is kind of monotonous, and it does get boring. So presenting to you guys my favorite card in each category, I thought was a better twist on things. Hopefully you guys liked the video, and like I said, remember to let me know your favorite cards down below. It could be the art of the card, it could be the effect, it could just be something that you personally relate to the most. But I'm just so excited for more of these leaks, bro. Every time they come out, it's like we just unlock another piece of the puzzle, and we are so much closer to figuring out how the game will be played, and we are so much closer to actually getting our hands on the game. So I mean, just exciting times, guys. It's just fucking exciting times, mate. March is gonna be March Madness. It's gonna be that month. So make sure you're here, you're sticking around. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and make sure that you share this video with someone today, and make sure they know that they have to get on top of their leaks, because Origins is coming, my friends. Origin is coming. With all that being said, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your days. Continue to build in the Web3 spaces, and you know, let's fucking go, bro. I'll see you in the arena. I will see you in Origins. Take care, family. Peace.